Bright suns, rising moons, wherever you are on the planet or in the galaxy, we are back on the beacon. It is the week after something that happened in Japan that no one knows about. It was Star Wars
Yeah,
related.
it's like it's no big thing, you know.
No, no, no. Um, Leah's back from Japan.
I
We missed
am.
you.
I missed being here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. We have to ask, how was it?
It's excellent. It was
Nice.
totally wizard.
Totally
Um,
wizard.
yeah, I had a great time there. I had a ton of fun doing the like touristy stuff in Japan,
Yeah,
and then also Celebration itself was
yeah,
fantastic.
yeah. No, that's really cool. Yeah, like one night we talked before celebration. Well, it was night here, but it was day where you were in Japan and you were
Right, I
hiking up
could
a
not pay
mountain.
attention to. Yes, I was hiking up a mountain the day before Celebration, which is maybe one of the dumbest choices I've ever made in my life.
You think?
Because it meant that the first couple days at Celebration, my legs were like gelatin.
Oh yeah.
But it was fine because I was in a lot of panels for the first couple days. So, you
I
know,
did see you in the High Republic meetup photo. I did
I
see you in the
yeah,
back. Yeah,
yeah, in
that was
my
awesome.
Brendock Witch
Yes.
costume.
Yes. I
But yeah,
thought
I had a
yeah.
I'm just gonna hold up handfuls of it. I got a lot of swag from people. I gave a lot of swag to people. I went with 4 bags of buttons and keychains to hand out, and I came back with no bags of buttons and keychains to hand out.
John, yes, we are going to be diving into Andor spoilers. So if you do not wish to be spoiled, we'll get to that here in a little bit, but we will give you
Yeah,
another spoiler warning. So right now we're catching up, doing celebration, and then we're
yeah.
going to
We'll
talk
do the catch
Sith.
up and stuff
Yeah,
first, and then we'll hop
yeah,
into the spoiler territory.
yeah,
We'll be
But it,
discussing the celebration
yes,
Andor.
yeah.
yes.
But
Speaking of the celebration in Andor,
oh, that's such awesome.
here
I
was
So
love that
cool.
poster so
the
much.
celebration Andor season 2 poster
Yeah.
in Japanese.
Well, I thought it was really interesting because like when I was watching the live stream and then like they would cut to the videos like in the panel rooms and also like on the live stage, like everybody was speaking English and then they had the Japanese subtitles, which I thought was
Right.
great for them to
Yeah.
do.
And then
Yeah.
I did like that for the Visions panel, they switched it.
Nice.
So the Visions panel was presented almost entirely in Japanese. And then because obviously this is the upcoming season of Visions is back to being all anime studios. So
Mhm.
it's a bunch of people who speak Japanese. And then there was one white guy who also spoke perfect Japanese. It was great. Also got signed print of the High Republic Edge of Balance 4 or Edge of Balance, sorry, Premonition cover, um, signed by the artist because Heining's fantastic. I love
Yeah.
her art.
Yeah.
There was the con exclusive Ethan Sachs comic that's the tie-in for the upcoming VR playset experience.
I saw that.
Which I did get to play it. It was fun. I
Cool.
have zero experience with anything VR, so I did horribly, but it was fun.
As
Um,
long as you had fun, that's all that matters.
yeah. Um, Ethan continues to be able to break hearts with
Of
only
course.
a few pages. That's all I'm gonna say about this comic. Um, and then my silliest purchases.
Oh God.
I'll start with the less silly of the two, which is Princess Knisa.
That is awesome.
Um,
Great.
the the younger daughter of Chief Chirpa,
Mm-hmm.
and a Wicket W. Warwick coaster. This was very much an impulse like I went in with the intention to buy her. I
Yeah.
did not go in with the intention to buy this, but I saw it. I made eye contact with it, and I went, "You're coming home with me." Um, so
Oh, that's awesome.
he now holds my drink. And then a less silly purchase a book that I've been meaning to read for a while,
Yeah.
and I saw it there, and it has the nice cover and the yeah.
Nice. I love
And the
that
hat.
thing.
The hat
And a
is
hat.
of course yeah. I had a great time, and it wasn't just buying stuff.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I said, most of what I brought back was just stuff that people were handing to each other, gifts freely given, if you will.
Thank you, Marta Rowe.
At least some of these do actually say gifts freely given. Um, or a sticker that says the force will be free.
Mm-hmm.
Classic. Um, yeah, but also just like getting to be in the panels was awesome. Getting to see, it was cool seeing like cosplays I've never gotten to see before. Like there was an amazing Lily Toriasi
Oh,
cosplayer, with like homemade her two lightsabers, and like it was very cool to see all of that. There's a Markion Row walking around. There was a Luminous 9 Avar Chris walking around. It was fantastic. Um, and also just the panels were incredible. The Visions panel was an energy like I have not experienced since the Vernestra Row in Acolyte announcement
Oh
at
yeah.
Celebration London.
Yeah, that was what,
Um,
2 years ago or last year?
yeah. I don't know if
Yeah.
2 years ago. I don't
Yeah,
know if
2 years
y'all
ago.
have gotten the chance to see the kind of sizzle reel for Visions season 3 that they had at Celebration. I'll
I
need to drop a
glanced at
link.
it.
I'll need to
Yeah.
drop a link to it in the Discord after this.
Yeah.
But there's one particular clip in it where everyone in the room that I was in, at least, went off the walls bonkers when it happened. And just fantastic energy. Fantastic energy. And then, of course, the announcement of the 9th Jedi series, which is so cool.
Ninth Jedi is
Um,
actually my favorite Visions short out of all of them.
like I can't decide which thing that was announced at Celebration or around Celebration I'm most excited for, because it's like Zero Company I'm super excited for. I
That's up Matt's alley.
unfortunately completely forgot to get the poster for that one, so I don't have the poster for it, but super excited for that one. Maul.
Oh,
Oh my
Maul
god.
Shadow Lord is gonna be
Uh,
incredible.
9th Jedi series.
Yeah.
Wow. Starfighter, unexpected.
So a lot of people are saying that he's just gonna dress as Ken in a Republic flight suit,
Um,
which I'd
it's
be okay with.
honest, like I'll watch it. And yeah, I just
This was
am. I had a very good time, and there were
nice.
great announcements, great
Mhm.
people. Um, the High Republic fan panel was incredible, especially because the people hosting the panel did not know how many of the creators would be showing up. So it was very funny. I was sitting in the back of the room, and I was sitting between Tessa Gratton and Alyssa Wong and Shima Shinya, who's the co-writer for all of the
Oh yeah.
Edge of Balance manga. So when they were talking about like, oh, this is Lily Torasi talking about like how great her arc has been, how
Yeah.
much depth she has as a character. Shima Shinya just shouts in the back, "I wrote that."
That's awesome.
Or when they were talking about Kevmo, Tessa sinks into their seat to hide from eyes. It was incredible. It was fantastic. The energy was unmatched.
I keep forgetting about Kevmo and just how Kevmo was done so dirty in that book. He was done so dirty.
But yeah, I mean, there was so much. It's the same thing I feel every time I go to a con that has like a heavy Star Wars presence. Is like, it's nice to be reminded. Because I mean, obviously, to a certain degree, like yes, it is self-selecting for who goes to cons and stuff, but like it's nice to be reminded that not everyone is angry online people.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Yeah.
I feel that.
It was nice to be reminded, like as I was dressed in like an Acolyte cosplay on the first 2 days there, like how many people enjoyed the show, or how many people, even if they didn't enjoy the show as much, are still like upset that it just wasn't given a chance.
I mean, look at the Manny Jacinto interview with Kristen Baver.
Yeah.
On the live stage.
And also, I do want to shout out, there were a ton of like Acolyte cosplayers from Japan there. It seems like it was quite popular among those fans. Which, like, I'm glad that something like there should be something for everyone in Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that the show, even if short-lived, found an audience.
It was a good series, and honestly, people should really go back and rewatch A New Hope without the rose-tinted glasses, and you'll see just how far Star Wars has come. Like,
I agree. Leah, you and I were kind of critical of the show at times. Like we were kind of critical of the show at times.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed
me
it
too.
thoroughly.
But it had its
think
issues.
Probably the biggest point is like, if it feels like one of those things where you should be able to be like, yeah, season 1, it comes and goes, but season 2,
it picks up. Yeah.
Like, imagine if we'd only gotten season 1 of Clone Wars. Not that season 1 of Clone Wars is bad.
No, but like the Acolyte, it has its issues.
It does. Yeah. I think they would have. I think they would have really found their feet with a second season, because
absolutely.
Because like
they were starting to find their feet.
Right, because in the Trek world, Lower Decks was like that. Lower Decks, a lot of the humor missed in season 1, but by season 2, like they found their pacing.
Yeah. Now, what were you saying, Leah? Sorry.
I just, it would have been nice if it had had more of a chance. And you could see the love for it there. The love for Manny, the power of Manny.
Power of one, the power of Manny.
One of the buttons that I was giving out when I was dressed as the Brundok Witch said the power of many, and then another one said the power of Manny. And I would mostly be handing those ones out because I had fewer of them to like Chimere cosplayers.
Yeah.
Or Jackie cosplayers, because all of them thought it was funny. And then I eventually was just giving it to like anyone who made the joke.
Nice.
Yeah. A lot of Jackie cosplayers there.
From what I heard, there were a lot of just Acolyte cosplays in
There
general.
were like a lot of, Jackie, Soul, and Yord trios walking around.
Perfect.
There was a solid number of both Anastasia sisters. There was a bunch of chimeras, of course. Everyone loves a good helmet.
Darth
Yeah.
Smiles.
Darth Smilus, yeah.
Dr.
Dr. Teeth.
Dr. Teeth.
Yeah.
I I really loved getting to see
Mhm.
the excitement for it. And I love getting to see the excitement for everything there. You know, there were Pele's Moto. There was a bunch of Jawas, of course. Everyone
Of
loves a
course.
Jawa.
It wouldn't be Celebration without
Um,
Jawas.
there was Fish Lady and her husband.
They had Fish Lady and her husband.
Fish Lady and her husband. Or Frog Lady and her husband.
Frog
Sorry,
Lady and
frogs.
her husband. Yeah, the
Um,
frogs.
the frogs. There was
I saw the Narkina 5
so
group.
yes, there was the running of the prisoners. There was the running of the hoods, of course.
Yeah.
I do. So in the past, as the Woolbro hoods have been running through Celebration, they've just been chanting "ice cream, ice cream, ice cream." They were chanting something different this time.
What were they
They were
chanting?
chanting "Save the rebellion, save the ice cream." Like the Saw Gerrera line from Rogue One, "Save the
Yeah.
rebellion, save the dream." Save the rebellion, save the ice cream. And that was maybe my favorite addition to the traditions.
So I actually have I'm going to pitch this right now. A tradition to start in 27 because I'm trying to get the team together for 27 for the 50th, right? And for
Oh,
Celebration
for
being in
sure.
LA. Yeah. Because I want all of us just to be in LA, just goofing off, celebrating Star Wars, all that. I actually have I'm going to pitch this right now. Narkina 5 swim team.
I love it.
We wear like, like the sweats like Team USA swimmers wear like before the meets, but it says like Narkina 5 swim team on it. And you can make them white and orange.
Incredible.
I am here
Sorry if
for
that
that.
was a terrible idea.
Oh
I
no,
think it's a
it was
brilliant
incredible.
idea.
I just got a text from an unknown number on my phone and had to make sure it wasn't like a work thing or
Yeah,
something.
no, I got
You know how it is.
no, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. But yeah, I was thinking
Um,
about that. But
yeah.
yeah. Um I
And who
wanna
knows, maybe we'll get something in the intervening time.
yeah.
Maybe there'll be something in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie that we'll all be like, we gotta.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Um, I already, given the fact that I won't have to fly with it, I have an evil plan for what I want to do. My reach goal for a cosplay.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to talk about it in case it doesn't come to fruition, but
That is fair. That is fair.
I feel
it
that
would be my
because
biggest project yet.
I feel your pain because I keep talking about my Baldur's Gate 3 cosplay and it keeps not getting done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
I
this
feel
is
your
completely
pain.
unrelated to Star Wars, and I do apologize. But
No, you're
it's
fine.
very tangential to Star Wars. So I first met this person, Catherine, because they made a screen accurate, like real leather K-Vest jacket, and then
Oh,
like an
nice.
animatronic Nyx, and like
Oh,
the whole
yeah.
K-Vest getup.
Yeah, I saw that.
They later made, again out of, real leather, hand sewn, whatever. The like starting bard armor from Baldur's Gate 3.
Mhm.
Which if you know what the armor looks like, it's really elaborate. It has a
Yeah.
bunch of like crazy little patterns in it. Um, incredible.
M
Incredible.
Matt, I'm gonna kill you, by the way. Sorry. He's
What
posting
did
in
I miss?
chat. He's posting in Discord. He posted a picture of a saw that says Saw Gerrera.
And it's got Saw
got it.
Gerrera's
And it's
face on it.
Saw Gerrera's face on it. No, that yeah. I mean, I love the dedication to cosplays like that. And it was crazy to see all of the Avar. I mean, not the Avar, Chris. The K Vest cosplays happen from just like a single still shot of K
Yeah.
Vest.
And there were some
Yeah.
cave S's at Celebration.
I saw that.
That's another thing where it's like, I'm so happy that these things like catch up. Obviously, there were a ton of Cal Kestis's,
Of course.
a ton of Marins.
Hmm.
It's one thing, yeah.
There was one, the Doctor from Andor season 1.
Oh God. Oh, the prisoner.
No, well, there was the prisoner Doctor.
Yeah.
I saw 2 of him, but there was one of the
Oh,
orange 4-armed Doctor who
that's
couldn't save
right.
Nemec.
That's right. I forgot about him.
Whose
Forgot
name
about him.
escapes me. There
Yeah.
was the Gormanda cosplayer was there again.
Nice.
We love the Gormanda cosplayer. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that I really want to shout out.
Well, I'll pitch another one for at least us three. Zero Company.
Zero Company seems like exactly what I want in a game.
Mm-hmm. Have you heard about
And
this,
I
Matt?
need it to be
No, I
here
haven't.
sooner.
Zero
Zero
Company.
Company,
Yeah, go ahead.
turn-based Clone Wars small group strategy game.
I'm
X
interested.
XCOM in Star Wars.
So you have
Oh, I
like
loved XCOM.
you
Oh my
have
god.
like you have your Jedi Padawan who's there. You have your clone like specialist. You have an Umbaran sniper. You have a
Oh, that's
Mandalorian,
And then like a
and you
Republic
can make
intelligence.
yeah, and your Republic intelligence person, and then you can make
Ow.
more. And this is only the ones that we know about.
Yep.
You could hypothetically get rid of all of those characters and just build your own D squad and go in.
Yeah. And they said that there's the option for permadeath in the game as well.
Ooh. Oh, that's cool.
So if you lose one of your
Yeah.
yeah,
But I think you can turn that off, they said. They
yeah,
said it was an option.
it's a difficulty setting.
Yeah, yeah.
But
And
like
Respawn's working on it.
getting to design your own characters.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. I loved that trailer. I loved that trailer.
It sets it up really well. It sets up the
does.
vibe. When I learned it was going to be in the Clone Wars, I was like, I don't know. But they explained their thinking behind it, and it makes a ton of sense. Where they were like, Clone Wars are really the only time that we have symmetrical warfare in Star Wars. Which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because a lot of other battles, like in the Galactic Civil War, they're like hit and run battles. Like they're really just skirmishes.
Ditto in the Resistance era.
Yeah.
Um,
Even in the High Republic era, it's hit and run tactics. Yeah.
So like I totally get the logic, and it seems like a really good group of characters that they've built here. We have a Tognath Jedi,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
He looks
Tognath,
great.
the only Tognaths that anyone probably knows about are Two Tubes and his brother from Rogue One and Andor.
Rogue One, yes. Yeah. But it was really cool to see him. The Umbaran looked awesome.
The Umbaran looks incredible. The fact that there's like the whole thing with how the Umbaran and the clone like start out the game hating each other.
Yeah.
And unless you do something about that, it might not end well.
And then there's
I need it.
R5.
And I can't believe I have to wait a year for it.
And then there's a little R5 unit in the squad too, which is awesome.
And you can make more. And that's the craziest thing to me. Like when
I
they were
love
like,
it.
"Oh yeah, you could totally just build a group of just astromechs. And if you kit them out right, you can get pretty far in the game."
Mhm.
XCOM, but Battle Astromechs. I'm here for it.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. So that means that I could do an entire squad of Umbarans. That means that I could do an entire squad of clones, whatever, which is awesome. And Respawn's working on it too, Matt. So it's Bit
Okay.
Reactor and Respawn.
I'm just imagining R2D2 staying strapped. That's such a funny image to me.
I mean, there
It's
was
like the D
B2,
Squad
or
arc.
yeah.
It's like
There
the D
was
Squad arc
BT.
or the D Squad comic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just Chopper. you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Like-
Chopper, everybody's favorite
Yeah,
war criminal.
I'm so curious to see how they pull it off, but they
Yeah.
seemed it seems like the design
Mhm.
is very much up my alley.
Yeah.
So we'll be playing that one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Anything that Respawn touches in the Star Wars universe, I'm picking up because like Fallen Order was incredible, Survivor was incredible, and this one's
Yeah.
probably going to be another hit for them.
yeah.
My two of my friends ran a panel that was like just kind of celebrating the stories of the Jedi games,
Hmm.
and a significant number of Respawn developers were in the audience for that one.
That
Which
is
is so
awesome.
cool.
That is really cool.
They are they love the fan response to those
Mhm.
games.
They're they're amazing games. They really are. Yeah, I mean, have you played those, Matt?
No, I haven't.
I'm currently replaying
They're
Fallen
awesome.
Order.
Fallen Order is
I just
fantastic.
finished Kashyyyk Part 1 in my replay.
So you got to get back to the tree again.
Well, no, I
Oh
just
yeah,
finished
that's right.
Kashyyyk Part 1. Now I've
Yeah,
got to go do Zepho Part 2.
that's right. And then you gotta go to Dathomir at some point too.
Well, yeah. Then
Yeah,
Kashyyyk Part 2, then
yeah,
Dathomir.
yeah, yeah,
Dathomir Part 2, then it's all over.
yeah. And then you gotta wipe out Malicos too. Like you gotta,
That guy.
yeah.
I'm playing it on Grand. Sorry, this is totally not Celebration
Fine.
related.
No,
I'm
it's
playing it on
Star Wars.
Grandmaster, and I haven't played it in a while, so it was a little bit of like, ooh, I'm floundering in the tutorial. Um, but I'm playing it on Grandmaster, and I beat Ogdo Bogdo in the first try
Nice.
in before I had the double-bladed lightsaber
Nice.
when I only had 3 stims.
Jeez. It's
I
crazy.
don't know how I did it. I've never been able to do that before, regardless of difficulty.
As a Helldivers cosplay or not cosplayer player, I appreciate anybody that can do hard fights while being low on stims. That's
Yeah.
respect.
Yeah. I think that's awesome that they did that though. That they did that panel and the Respawn developers were there. That's really really cool. Um, I'm glad that you had a great time, Leah. I really am. Um, so yeah, celebration. Next celebration is come on up, Pickle. You want to come up, don't you?
Pickle.
Next, yeah, he's walking around meowing at me. Um, next celebrations in 2027 in LA at the LA Convention Center. Um, we don't know when tickets are going to go on sale. You cannot book flights yet. You
Probably
cannot book hotels.
2026.
Yeah, you can't book hotels yet or flights yet. But we are going to try to get there because this is
The
the big one.
Los Angeles Convention Center regularly hosts a lot more people than Celebration typically
Okay.
hosts. So they will be able to handle this probably being a bigger one.
Yeah,
And
because
I think a group cosplay of the Narkina 5 swim team would be perfect for it.
Because the LA
I'm here
Convention
for
Center
it.
is like 2 convention centers
yeah,
that abut each other.
yeah,
Um, so it'll be plenty big.
So I was talking to my wife about it, and I'm trying to convince her. Um, so I was talking to her about it, and I was like, "Hey, why don't we do this? If we can only go to a couple of days of celebration, like 2 days of celebration, that's fine. Because we'll also go down the street to Disneyland for a couple of days and chill out
Well,
there."
it's a county away, but
Yeah, but you know what I mean. It's like
relatively
half an
down the
hour
street.
away. Yeah. And then, I mean, ultimately, I'd love to go all 4 days, but if I can only go like 2 days, it's fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Like,
I just
will I be
want,
gunning for all 4 days?
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah,
100%.
absolutely. But if I can
Um,
only get like 2 days, I'm good because I can say I went.
right. Like,
Yeah,
I didn't go all 4 days for Anaheim.
yeah. You went all 3 for London, right?
I went all 3 for London and all 3 for Japan.
Yeah. How many did you
Um,
do for Anaheim? Was it 1 or 2?
I I ended up last minute secondhand getting or like buying a resale ticket for a third day.
Okay.
Um, but yeah.
Uh-huh.
Nothing there.
It's all good. Um, yeah, so we're gonna try to make it happen.
I'm
Because
down for it.
yeah, so I'm trying to get a team together, because I know I talked to Allie about it. Allie says she's pretty much on board for it. You and I talked about it. We're gonna try to make it happen. Trying to talk to my wife, Liz and Laura, the Scott twins.
Mm,
Um, I've been talking to Liz about that. They said that they are in for doing it as well. So it's just a matter of saving up to do it. That's the big thing.
that's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you have to worry about a rental car, you have to worry about a hotel, you have to worry about flights, and
Hmm.
then yeah, we'll probably rent a car to drive down to Disneyland and spend a
Yeah.
couple of days there. Um, you don't have
You
to go. Huh?
if you wanted to fight against the public transit in Los Angeles, you could take a train down to Anaheim.
I could. That is
But
true.
then
We
you're
could
gonna have
take
to
it.
fight the public transit in Anaheim, which is worse.
Yeah.
Think I'll pass
Yeah,
on.
no, I'll just rent a
I've
car.
done it. It's doable.
Yeah. I'll just rent a
Yeah.
car.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just rent a car.
Yeah. All right. So, let's talk a little bit about Revenge of the Sith real quick, and then we're going to dive into Andor. This is the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith. I feel old. I feel extremely old.
Same. I
Um,
remember when those movies were first coming out.
Me too. Me too. Um, that was I was just graduating high school when that movie came out. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I remember it like it was yesterday.
Mm.
Um, so we went today, and man, um, talk about an experience. Talk about an experience. It was, um, it was incredible. It was, um,
Did you get
it
to relive the like knowing that Anakin was gonna fall while also like hoping that he actually didn't?
yeah, it's crazy because like you already know the outcome of the movie, right? You already know the outcome. You already know that
Hmm.
he's going to become Vader. But throughout the movie, you are still rooting for him to make the right decision.
Yup.
And
Yup.
even though I'm like, I know what's going to happen, I know this has to happen, but I don't want this to happen. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it was really cool to relive that again on the big screen. The opening to that movie with the Jedi starfighters flying into the battle over Coruscant is still one of my absolute favorite openings to any movie of all time. Like it is incredibly done.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's action packed. I love the use of the war drums in it too. Um, it's just it's so good. It was so much fun. My only the only issue I had with that screening today was the couple sitting next to me sucking face. Every once in a while, I'd hear them kiss, and I'm like, really? No, whatever. God, I sound like an old man talking about this.
I could.
My
There,
wife just said I sound like an old man talking.
there are jokes I can make about that. I'm gonna wait until we're not live for it.
I felt so I felt like such an old man just being like, "You kids." At least they were not on their phones. That is true. At least they were not on their phones.
Not a smartphone in sight, just people living in the moment.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, I saw the dude's watch light up a couple of times and I'm like, "Okay, whatever." But yeah, like it was
uh,
um I don't know if you heard this one, Leah.
Uh-oh.
So we're talking about Revenge of the Sith and the screening that I was at today. And and I told Matt, I said, look, the movie's awesome. It's fantastic. It was a great experience. However, to the couple sucking face right next to me for part
That's
of the
an
movie.
interesting movie to choose to do that
Yeah,
to.
exactly.
May I ask which part of the movie?
Um
that was where my brain went to, Leah.
it
You're not
was
alone in that.
okay. The first time was during the crawl.
Uh, it
I'll
could be
give them that.
worse.
I'll
It
give
could be
them that.
worse.
I'll give them that. They stopped when the scene after the crawl started with the starfighters over the Battle of
Right, because you
Coruscant.
gotta lock in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course, you have to lock in. The second time was the revelation Padme was pregnant, and I'm like, okay.
Okay.
And then the third time was they were talking. Oh, it was the Darth Plagueis scene.
That's weird.
Yes.
Tell
That's
me, have
weird.
you heard the tale of Darth Pissy Face the
Yeah,
Wise?
pretty much. Yes. And
Uh,
I'm like, you know
kissing in
what?
front of Darth Plagueis. Who do they
Yeah.
think they are? Osha Kindir?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that actually, Leah, part of my thoughts went to that. But yeah, I'm just like, I just look over and I'm like, okay,
You
but
know,
okay,
at,
but
you know, at least it wasn't Order 66.
That that
oh, if
that,
they
that
had
was where
done
my
that
brain went.
during Order 66, I would have been pissed.
That would have been like, okay, now it's
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And like I said, you know, to each their own. They weren't on their phones. They weren't talking. And even then, like, they weren't like really distracting. Like, you could just hear them kissing every once in a while. And I'm just like, whatever. And they looked like they were kind of young. So
Mm.
I'm like,
Too
whatever.
too
Just,
young to have their own place, so they gotta go
exactly.
where
I'm just
they
like,
can.
or they might have just started dating,
Yeah.
like whatever. Yeah.
I was a junior in high school once too. I get it.
Yeah. And I'm like, you know what? Hey, it's cool. The Mon Calamari got him in the mood. The Mon Calamari ballet got him in the mood. It's all that water, man. It's all that
I
floating water.
I don't know. That seems kind of fishy to me.
For
but you
some
know what?
reason, this is just reminding me of when I was in high school and took a girl on a date to see Interstellar.
Oh God.
I did love the robot in that movie because he's just so
Oh, in
different.
Interstellar.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah, it was a really cool experience though. Like seeing it on the big screen, it still holds up really, really well. And the crazy thing is like now that we've gotten and my wife and I were talking about this, now that we've gotten like all of these different subsequent series and material that like just enhance the saga even more. I was thinking about all of these different things like as I'm watching the movie and like during Order 66, I was like, okay, so Ahsoka's on the cruiser trying to come back to Coruscant. Maul's on the cruiser too. Um, Cal Kestis is on his Jedi cruiser with his master. Kanan and Balaba are on the one planet with the Bad Batch. Um, Kelleran Beck is getting Grogu out of the temple. Like I kept thinking about all of these different things. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, like this just enhances this even more just to like try to like remember who's where, what's going on." It's so awesome to like think about that. And then like when they talk about the philosophy of the Jedi, I went automatically to the High Republic and like how they talk about the philosophy of the Jedi in the High Republic era. Um and Leah, I wanted to actually float this question to you because I was thinking about this during the very beginning of the movie.
Float it.
The Jedi starfighters, do you think they actually took old school vector designs and implemented some of that into their starfighters?
I can totally, sorry, I'm eating. I can
No, no, you're
totally
good.
see that.
Yeah.
Because I know this is out of universe, but
Yeah.
the design for the Vector was originally a design intended for the prequels.
Yeah.
Um, like that's what the original concept art was. So
Yeah.
like it fits in so well next to them
Hmm.
that it makes perfect sense to be like to see them as kind of a steps in a progression.
Yeah. Because like I just kept thinking and I was like, this reminds me a lot of the Jedi vectors. Um
How they were like flying together in a drift
yeah.
and that sort of thing.
And that's what I thought too. I kept thinking about that, especially with the Battle of the Kerr Nebula, in Light of the Jedi. Um, yeah, so do yourself a favor and see it if you have not seen it yet. Spoiler alert: the movie is 20 years old. Um, so take that with a grain of salt. However, there were a lot of families there today too, with like a lot of parents that had kids. And I was just sitting there and I was thinking like I would look at some of the families and I was just thinking, wow, hey Heidi, what's going on? I was just thinking, wow, these kids are seeing this for the first time like on the big screen. How blown away are these kids right now? Like how awesome is this for these kids right now?
Right?
But I was like, you picked a hell of a movie for your kids to sit in on for their first like big screen Star Wars movie. just just throwing that one out here.
I mean, to be fair, it was my first big screen Star Wars movie.
That is true. That is true.
It
Yeah.
Because
was
even
fun.
though, like,
You were a kid back in 2005. You were that kid back
yeah,
in '05.
um, because like I'd seen the other 5 movies before then,
Yeah.
and it was the only one that I hadn't seen. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So I love this
because
movie to
yeah,
death. I love this movie to death, but I gotta say, some of the line delivery in the movie is still really bad. There's
You turned her against
no,
me.
I love that. I love
Really?
that bit. I do. My favorite botched delivery is right after Anakin turns on Mace Windu and Palpatine is talking about how like all the Jedi need to be wiped out and everything, and Anakin goes, "What about the other Jedi spread across the galaxy?" And I'm like, did you just read this like off in a teleprompter, like behind McDermott's head? Like, it's so bad.
McDermott is such a good actor, though.
Yeah,
What do
McDermott's
you
great.
mean? There is no teleprompter behind his head.
my my brain still goes to Kenobi in that end scene. Spoiler alert.
Oh,
If
what?
yeah, right. You know, when Vader is like raging about like just destroying everything to find Obi-Wan, and Palpatine just sitting there like, bro, you okay?
Yeah. No, he starts laughing.
hmm
Yeah, Palpatine starts laughing when Vader's like, no.
No,
I think
I'm talking Kenobi though.
Oh, the Kenobi series. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
I think my favorite line delivery in Revenge of the Sith is Obi-Wan going, Anakin is the father, isn't he? I'm so sorry.
It's
And
so robotic with
because he's so obviously trying not to laugh.
that.
I'm so sorry.
Well, my wife also pointed out something in the scene where the Separatist ship, where Grievous's ship is crashing. Look at Palpatine and how calm he is in that situation. The entire time, stuff's blowing up around him. The ship is literally on fire, and Palpatine's just like this. Yeah, okay, okay, yep, yep. Grievous hype, General Kenobi. Oh, I love that bit
General
so much.
Kenobi.
I love that bit so much. And
Batter to death them.
yeah,
Please tell me someone else has watched Backstroke of the West
yeah,
and knows it.
No.
but it's so well that and then like but that was another thing too. Like when Anakin meets Grievous, that's the first time they ever meet because in Clone Wars, they're playing a cat and mouse game the entire time. They never cross paths. And I'm like, after watching Clone Wars, I was like, this is so awesome that they're actually meeting for the first time in this movie. And he's like, I expected you to be older. And then Anakin's like, yeah, you're shorter than I expected. And Obi-Wan's like, try not to make him mad, dude. Like, come on, man. Ugh.
It would be less funny if it were the first time that had happened,
Yeah.
but it wasn't the first time. Because as we all know,
They met in
the
the
first
animated
time
series.
the first time R2 and 3PO met Boba Fett was in the holiday special.
That is true. That is
But
very
then
true.
when Boba Fett was a recurring or was a villain in the Droids cartoon,
That's true.
they had to have him always just out of view from R2 and 3PO.
Yes. It's so great. I love when Star Wars does stuff like that. It's fantastic. And I will say this, Grievous is such a laughable villain. He's
He
such a
comes out
laughable
of
villain.
nowhere.
He does. He really does. And one of my favorite bits is the fight between Obi-Wan and Grievous on Utapau. And like Obi-Wan's like, oh, he's got 4 lightsabers. It's great. And then Grievous starts the spinny thing, and Obi-Wan's like backing up and like looking down, and he's like, oh shit. Like, oh. Go see Revenge of the Sith if you haven't seen it yet. Please do yourself a favor. It's great. The spinny lightsabers, yes, the spinny lightsabers are the best. And then so uncivilized is fantastic. Like I love that bit. Oh man. And there's something so cool about seeing those Republic cruisers and the way they're designed and everything that's so cool too.
Yeah.
Um
There's
yeah.
something about the prequel trilogy with how it did the ships.
Yes.
I just think a lot about like the first time that you see the acclimators
Yeah.
at the end of or towards the end of Attack of the Clones, where you're like, those are kind of like Star Destroyer-esque.
Hmm.
And then at the very end of Attack of the Clones, you get the Imperial March, and it's like, oh yeah, this is very Imperial. And then the start of the next movie, they have like full-blown Star Destroyer.
Yeah. Yeah, like yeah, it's crazy. When I go on Star Tours, I get that Battle of Coruscant scene all the time. That's awesome. Battle of Coruscant is fantastic. It's one of the best sequences in
I don't
any
think I've
Star Wars
ever
movie.
gotten it. I feel like
No?
I get the Vandor every single, or not Vandor, the Hoth every single. I always think it's Vandor because
We get
I am solo pilled. But
we've gotten Hoth a bunch of times. We've gotten Tatooine and Naboo, and like we've gotten Kashyyyk a couple of times. And I think we got Batu once for like the final push.
I didn't even know Batu was an option.
It is at the end as like one of the bases. Oh, we've gotten Jakku a couple of times too. Yeah, Jakku's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So should we talk about the wedding and the party music for like the next hour or so, and that's the only thing we're going to talk about with Andor?
Cassian Andor.
Cassian Andor. Andor. So let's give our
We can also
spoiler.
talk
Yeah.
about everyone's favorite Imperial scientist Glup Shido.
Oh yeah, we can. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes here. But
Not that one, the
before,
new one.
yeah, yeah. But before we get into that, let's talk about our spoiler-free reactions before we dive into the spoilers. So Leah, I'm gonna go with you, and then I'll go with Matt. So Leah, your
Spoiler-free
spoiler-free thought.
reaction to the
Yeah,
first 3 episodes of Andor
yeah,
season 2. Wow.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
I it has kept up the pace. It
Yeah,
has kept up the intensity. Um, I got to watch the first of these episodes early,
that's right.
and I was blown away by it. And then I got to watch the 2 episodes after that, and I was even more blown away.
It's good.
And I can't wait for what's next. And I'm so upset that we only have 3 weeks left.
I know. I know.
But
Mhm.
also, I do think it's very clear that these were intended to be watched as a trio. So like
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not upset about the fact that like this is how it's getting released. I'm upset
Yeah,
about the fact that there's just not more.
Yeah,
yeah,
they're kind of being released like miniature movies as opposed to
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
episodic.
yeah. Yeah. Heidi says very jealous of all the pretty dresses Mon Mothma gets to wear. Huh?
Oh, we will
Yeah,
talk
yeah, yeah.
about those.
Oh, we're
Yeah.
gonna talk about Mon Mothma's fashion.
Give the cosplayers like a month. They'll have them all replicated.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I said that about a droid that was in the show. It was like, give the droid builders 3
yeah.
months.
Yep.
Mhm.
We will have
Yeah,
4 of these.
yeah.
Yep.
Um, Matt, your spoiler-free reaction to the first 3
So
episodes.
I personally think that the social commentary of the first
Yeah.
3 episodes is on the same level as the 3rd season of the Battlestar Galactica remake.
Ooh. Yeah, that's a deep cut, my friend, but go
Mhm.
for it. Yeah.
And so I think that they really spoke
Mhm.
to the issues that are going on today. They
Oh,
really
did they?
contrasted. Yeah, I know, right? It's like I think that they nailed that contrast of, people trying to drown their, kind of drown themselves out in, entertainment and dance and music while, other people are, you know, fighting against oppression in the same setting. I think that they covered all of those tropes incredibly.
Yeah.
And I think it was just Andor continues to be just an absolute masterpiece of Star Wars storytelling. And
Yeah.
I hope we get many, many more seasons out of it.
Well, this is the second and final season, bud.
Yeah, that's right. Because
Uh,
the Rogue One.
yeah.
Dang it!
I know. I know.
Get the same team on something else. Dang it!
Yeah.
It's such
Uh,
good storytelling.
I so for me, I loved these 3 episodes so much. I and like the very so I'm not going to go into spoilers yet. I love the social commentary. The social commentary is incredible in the first
Beautiful.
3 episodes. It's
Yep.
beautiful. It's beautifully done. Um you feel the tension right off the bat when this story, as soon as the first episode gets going, like the tension is there, right? Um but it's so well done, that there are times when immediately heist. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, there are times when um, they allow you to catch your breath, but you
Yeah.
don't catch your breath at all because they just ratchet up the tension like during those other scenes. And it's so crazy that it's like, oh yeah, this is meant to be like one of those bits where, okay, yeah, breathe, take a minute, do what you got to do. But then deep down, but like in the background, Tony Gilroy's like, yes, dance puppets, dance, like get ready. And then what's great is every episode of this series so far has given you payoff after payoff after payoff while also building to a mystery.
Mhm.
And that's what the first 3 episodes of season 2 do very, very well, is you get those immediate payoffs, but it's building towards something more, and you're starting to see the foundation to that. Um, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's so damn good.
Hmm.
And um, we're gonna get into spoilers. Um, but I just want to say this right now. The 3rd episode has a scene in it that
Yeah.
yeah, it's an almost assault.
Hmm.
It's an almost, yeah. Um we're going to talk about the scene because it's a major part of the episode. It is a major part of the episode.
Yep.
Um we don't condone this scene at all. Um
We don't
but we
condone the actions taken in
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, we don't condone the actions taking place. We don't condone the actions taking place. I think the scene is very important to the show and to Bix's character.
Mm.
Um and yeah, so we'll dive into that in just a little bit, but just know that you know, we're we're here for you. Like if you have ever been a victim of that of that, just know that we are here for you. There are resources for you out there, and that we love you and that we care about you. So it is. It's a very, very heavy scene. It
It
is a
is. Yeah.
very heavy scene. Um,
It's, but it's, I think, so important that it
absolutely.
exists.
Yes.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and I think, well, it's given the gravity it deserves.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do we actually, I feel like maybe we should just talk about the scene now since we kind of started
Yeah,
talking
so
about
if
it.
you're really trying to go no spoilers,
Yeah.
leave now.
Yeah. Yeah.
From
Yeah.
this point
Yeah.
on,
Now it's
Yeah.
time. Now it's time for yeah.
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 from
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
point on,
Yeah.
there
Um,
will be spoilers. So,
yeah.
uh, John, anyone else who has not watched it,
Yeah.
um,
Do yourself a favor
the video will be available.
yeah. 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 I mean, the video
Giving a
is
couple
always on
seconds
demand.
for anyone to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The video
5,
will be on
4,
demand
3.
later. Um,
Extended
yeah.
edition.
Yeah, the extended edition. Yeah, I just feel like we should talk about this scene since we started addressing it. Um, there is an Imperial officer that tries to, um, and if I'm going to use words here that, yeah, he tries to sexually assault Bix.
Hmm.
Um, he and the thing is like you see why he's doing it because he's in a position of power and he feels that he can use that power against anybody against their will.
But
um
especially against a woman who is alone and
Yeah.
who has no legal protections as
Exactly. Yeah.
she is on
Mhm.
this planet illegally.
Yeah, and he makes that very clear at the get-go. He's like, "Look, I know you're illegal." And then that's when he thinks, "Oh, it'll make it'll make it easier for me to do what I want to do because she's going to be so afraid that I'm going to arrest her for
Mhm.
being here illegally that she'll just give it up."
Yeah.
But it also showcases just how crazy imperial oppression was getting. The
Yeah.
idea that you had to have like, you know,
Yeah.
basically it's sort of like, you get some, so like authoritarian countries in the world today,
Yeah.
you don't have the right to travel if you
Yeah.
live there. And
That's true.
it's, Andor season 2, basically creating its own problem with illegal immigration by taking away interplanetary right to travel it's an interesting showcasing of just how far
Yeah.
imperial repression was getting at that point.
Mhm.
And I think it's neat that and this is something that I'm sure we'll talk about in
Yeah.
general about this show. Um, this this show has been it. I mean, we're 3 episodes into this season, but
Yeah.
it's doing an incredible job of building on things that other Star Wars stories have set up.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're wearing a Bad Batch hat. Bad Batch season 1,
Yeah.
one of the first thing it sets up is the Empire is already like trying to track people's movement
Yeah.
more.
The chain code.
Um, it's trying to track people better.
Yeah.
And this is kind of the logical
Mhm.
conclusion from that. If,
Yeah, it's interesting because Bad Batch talks about chain codes.
Hmm.
Because Rampart creates the chain codes, and then we have the guy giving Brasso like the fake chain codes so that they could get around the patrol. Um, Going back to this scene though, we see this just major level of fascism. We see this major level of people in power not caring about people getting what they want, trying to take what they want. Um, and I will say Bix holds her own so well in that scene.
Hmm.
And she kicks that dude's ass.
Yeah. 100%.
and I think I mean, obviously, what the officer was doing is just damning,
Oh,
but it's,
absolutely.
I think, almost as damning that his subordinate does not even react to the
No.
screaming and shouting from inside of the building until it's the officer who's screaming in pain.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Yep.
then when Bix
Which
says, yeah,
to
go ahead.
me implies that this is a pattern of behavior with this guy
Yeah.
and is something that is normal to everyone around him.
Yeah. And then when
Which is just so damning, but
it is,
so like the Empire in its aggregate is like a big cult of personality around the Emperor.
it
Yep.
is.
And it seems like that is being replicated down even to the level of the lowest officers
Hmm.
checking people's papers on a backwater planet,
Yeah.
Hmm.
where like whatever your boss says, no matter how messed up it is, no matter how messed up what he does is, he's the boss.
Yeah. And then,
Um, yeah,
well, also that subordinate doesn't even bat an eye when she says what the officer tried to do to her.
Hmm.
all he
Right.
cares about is that his commanding officer has been killed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Um,
Because he's asleep until he starts screaming.
he's
Hmm.
yeah, and yeah, and I
It's so
I
it's so tough.
it's so
Yeah.
it's tough, but like I said, it was given the gravity
Yeah.
that it merits.
Oh,
Yep. I agree.
absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
and then seeing that alongside, seeing that violence that's done against Bix, and then comparing that to the violence being done at the same time against Brasso,
Yeah.
These are two very different behaviors, two very different things. Very specific to kind of the gender of the victim,
Yeah.
but
Right.
they ultimately come from the same place, which is just absolutely grasping for power in any
Yeah.
way possible,
It's
Yeah.
power over other people.
Yep.
Yep. I was about to say that
Um,
exact same thing. Power over.
and it's vile and horrible, and I'm glad that it made it
Me too.
into the final product.
Oh,
I
me.
would have liked if it had had maybe a quick warning screen at the start of the
Yeah,
episode.
I agree.
Yeah.
Um, but you know,
Yeah.
it
It.
was a. I'm glad it exists. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't enjoy watching it, but
No.
like,
No.
I
Yeah.
think it serves a very important purpose.
It's.
Yeah.
It's. I didn't enjoy watching it, and that is the point
The
of
actors
the.
acted the hell out of the scene, though.
It
Absolutely.
was
Absolutely.
it was the same. It was the same sort of, maybe not the same, but similar kind of weight as when, touching on the Battlestar Galactica season 3, where
Mm,
you had, colonials strapping suicide vests to them. You know,
yeah. Yeah.
it's
Mm,
like I said, it's not the exact same kind of weight
yeah.
because it's a different kind of trauma, but
Yeah.
it's similar. It's very heavy stuff.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
Yeah.
and it's the kind of thing that, Andor has not
No.
shied away from
If
the the horrible things that
yeah.
happen.
yep.
Um,
If there
you
is
know,
if there is
yeah.
one thing this show does not do, it does not pull any punches. It does not pull any punches at all when it comes to its storytelling, when it comes to shining a light on all of these situations.
Like
And
the
for
steps that Luthen took
yeah,
to protect Mon Mothma at the very end
yeah,
of third episode.
yeah. But like
Yeah,
even then, like Tony Gilroy had it came out after these episodes aired, and people asked him about that sequence, and Tony
Hmm.
Gilroy's like, look throughout history and you will see that this has constantly happened.
Yep.
He said,
literally any time in history.
yeah, exactly. He says it is a part of it, he says unfortunately it is a part of our history,
Hmm.
and these things need to be addressed.
It's one of those things where it's like you can't portray an institution as vile as the Empire without them actually being vile.
Exactly.
Right.
Because
Exactly.
that's where you get, like, the conspiracy nuts for a while there in the 2010s that were like, oh, the Empire is actually the good guys, and it's like, no,
Yeah.
get
Which
out of
is
here.
wild to
You
me
know.
because literally one of the first things that we see the Empire do is
Commit genocide.
commit genocide.
Yeah.
Seriously,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
But
uh,
because it was so abstracted,
Yeah.
it's a planet.
yep.
The average person is never going to see the entirety of the Earth from space.
Exactly.
The
Mm,
average person is going to see a woman.
Hmm.
yes, correct.
Um, and I think it's kind of that classic
Yeah.
issue of one person is a tragedy, a million people is a statistic.
Hmm.
Mm,
If you want to really portray how, but even that falls apart because one of the other first things that we see is the Empire torturing a 19-year-old girl
Yeah.
for,
For base identification.
and like,
wait, what?
For base location.
because
Oh,
Leia.
yeah, yeah,
when
yeah, yeah,
Leia's getting, yeah,
Yeah.
tortured on the Death Star,
yeah. Hmm.
but they don't show it as explicitly as the
Yeah.
torture is shown in Andor. Just
Well, and it's kind of interesting because the the way the human brain processes things like that, right? Because
right.
we are very much cavemen with Wi-Fi. Our brains
I mean,
evolved
yeah.
Yeah, our brains evolved to eat berries in a cave with like, 5 other people, and like that's as far as we got, right? So it's like it's interesting how, people don't really think about like Alderaan being a genocide because, you know, the human brain just isn't wired to think of
Nope.
numbers that large, you know?
No.
It's over 1 billion people.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So let's I feel like we addressed this scene
Yeah.
pretty
Do we
well.
want to hop back to the
Yeah.
start of the 3 episodes
Yeah.
and kind
Yeah.
of
yeah.
To the
do we
more
want to
hopeful
talk
note.
about do you want to talk about like each kind of plot line or
Yeah,
like all
let's
I
talk
together
about
or
each
like
plot line.
cool.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just
yeah.
gonna
Um
say real quick that I am so ready for Lego to release their the TIE Avenger whenever that
Oh
comes
yeah,
out. Like,
deal.
it
Can
was so
so
cool.
do we want to start with
Um
Cassian's story,
let's
Mon's story, Bix and Brasso's story, or the Imperial story?
so we're already on Bix and Brasso, so why don't we just
Let's
do
do the whole
that
Bix and
story?
Brasso story.
Yeah.
And then we'll switch over to the Empire story and then we'll do Mon and Cassian last.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um
Um
yeah, go
Bix
for
and
it.
Brasso's story, uh, where we left them in season 1, they were escaping to safety from Ferrix.
Mhm. And
Um,
oh, this is a 1-year time jump, by the way.
there's a 1-year time jump, yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be another year time jump after this.
Yeah.
So we see them, Bix, Brasso, and Wilman Pack. No clue where Jezzy is. B2 Emo is also with them. And Brasso's new girlfriend. Love her.
Brasco's new
Um,
girlfriend is great. She's the best.
they are living on this planet Mina Rao, huge farming planet. Um, they are undocumented living there.
Mhm.
But none of the locals care because they need the extra hands for the harvest. Um, they need the extra skilled people working there. Um, look out your damn window. Um, and part of it is establishing over the course of these episodes that they are an integral part of this community, even if they're not, they don't have any paperwork saying that they are, but they're eating with these people, they're friends and lovers with these people. These people are trying to protect them. Um, when we first open on them, Bix is having a nightmare about Dr. Gorst, the man who tortured her. And
Oh
we
yeah.
see that along with Bix and Brasso, the local people are also trying to help her. And like, I loved getting to see that, kind of like in Nemec's manifesto, like most people are going to try to do something to help, or people are going to try to do something to help.
Yeah.
Um, but unfortunately, it isn't enough.
Mhm.
Wilman Pack is away from the house when the Empire finally arrives. They're not able to get away in time because of that. Brasso goes out to try to get him. Vix is left alone at the house. The scene that we talked about happens. Uh, Wilman Pack is making his way back to the house. Brasso gets caught. Brasso gets shot. Um,
So sad.
People have pointed out there is one stormtrooper that's shooting who's actually looking down the sight of his blaster, and with kind of the presumption that like that's the guy, that's the one who did it. But it doesn't matter. They're literally faceless. It's
Yeah.
they
But I
just
want the
represent
operating
the
number of that
oppressive.
stormtrooper.
Um, yeah, and it hurts. Like the last episode on Mina Rao is
Yeah.
just gut punch after gut punch.
Yeah. It
Um,
is.
And you can see in the end as Bix and Willman escape with Cassian, unfortunately leaving B2 behind. You can see, I mean, obviously Bix is shell-shocked
She is.
by the combination of everything with the Imperial officer, losing Brasso, probably being reminded of everything with Dr. Gorst. And you can see that Willman blames himself
He does.
for how everything happened. Which I don't think it's fair to blame him because it is ultimately the Empire's fault. Like, blaming him is kind of the same to me as blaming the Jedi for Order 66.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, absolutely their actions set this up, but it should never have been on the table in the first place.
I agree.
You know, absolutely the Jedi, you know, were going down the wrong path in the prequels.
Oh, definitely.
That does not merit genocide. Absolutely, Willman should not have like gone out to touch foreheads with his local farm girl. That does
I
not
agree.
mean that it's his fault that
No.
Bix was assaulted and Brasso was killed.
Yeah, I agree.
However, he's absolutely going to blame himself. 150%.
I think they're really going to explore the PTSD with both of these characters moving on throughout the rest of the season.
For sure. And I
Yeah.
think we're going to see both of them. Can we talk about the trailers?
Mhm.
I mean, what we're going to see, I think, is they're going to take different kind of paths towards regaining control. It seems like Bix is trying to regain control in a much more personal way.
Yeah.
And it seems like Willman is trying to regain control and kind of redeem himself in a much more broad way. Where
I see.
she's kind of like, I have this particular thing that I need to do, and Willman's like, I need to throw myself into the ring of this rebellion as
Yeah.
much as I can.
Yeah, I can see Bix going on a revenge tour.
And I can see
With
it not helping her
yeah,
in the
yeah,
end.
exactly.
Like, I
And
think it'll be an objectively good thing to have fewer of these Imperial monsters around.
oh yeah, I agree.
I
still
also think that she will feel consistently worse and worse.
Yeah.
I still think Andor should have shot down that Gazanti cruiser personally. That's just me.
Yeah.
They teased it. It was like you got a target lock, but then decided not to take the shot.
Give my girl Bix a break, please, Tony. we all want that for Bix.
Bix and Bell Zettifar are like characters
Thank
who
you.
need a break.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, seriously.
Exactly. But with Wilmon, I could see him going with Saw Gerrera for a while.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can,
yeah.
as much as it pains me to say it, and I don't want any of the remaining characters to die, I can see Willman being confirmed to be on Jeddah when
Absolutely.
Rogue One happens.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't want that to happen. I want him to live a long and happy life. But
I
this is
want
the
him to
build up
touch
to Rogue
foreheads.
One.
Yeah. I want him to touch foreheads again.
I want him to touch foreheads again. And maybe other things. I don't know.
That's for the after hours show.
Um,
That's when we start talking about Darth Daddy.
but yeah, I think like it wasn't the up until the last episode. There wasn't the most action going on Mina Rao,
Yeah.
but
Touching foreheads so romantic.
Maybe they'll
it
even hold
was
hands.
That's too much for certain people in this show, as
Yeah.
we learned, which we'll get to when we get to the Mon Mothma portion.
Oh my god, yes.
Um,
I can't wait to get to that bit.
yeah, this was like it was slow build up, but the
Mhm.
payoff was so well executed, so
was.
heavy, but
was.
so well executed.
Mhm.
It was.
And Mina Rao was just in general like a very fascinating
I loved it.
planet that they've constructed, where it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, when you have city worlds like Coruscant, like Troith, like Denon, you're gonna need to have huge agri worlds to feed
Yeah.
them.
Mhm.
Now I
Like
wanted
for
that
every
book.
Coruscant, there's probably 20 Mina Raos.
Right.
I
Yeah.
just wish, and this is going off on a tangent real quick about this planet. I really hope there's a dude like that just like got rid of a bunch of those crops to build a baseball field like on his farm.
I do want to shout out while we're talking about this arc. If I'm not mistaken, I do think they actually grew
They
fields of rye for
did.
Oh,
that.
that's cool.
Which,
That's
going
cool.
back to mentioning Interstellar,
Yep, I was just about to say that.
that's wild to me. Like while we were watching it, I said to my girlfriend, "Do you think it's all CG, or do you think they interstellared it?"
The
Um,
Midwest has a planet.
It's the Midwest as a planet.
the
I'm sure
Midwest is a planet.
Southwest
Yeah,
Illinois.
it's literally like
yeah.
Oklahoma.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I grew up in southeastern Wisconsin. I literally
You
my
know.
high school was across the street from a cornfield.
I mean, even growing up on the eastern shore of Maryland, there's farmland everywhere, so
See,
I know it.
I'm a Central Maryland guy. The only thing here is data centers and
Yeah,
hills.
yeah.
So,
It's true.
like,
It
you
is
know,
true.
those
Yeah.
ram sticks, they, if you put a little ketchup on them, they're okay. But, you know,
A little crunchy.
yeah, crunchy.
Um, yeah, you got to watch out for your teeth.
Yeah.
Do we
So,
want to?
Let's move on to the Imperial
Let's
story
move on to the Imperials.
and Diva Krennic, because
So this
let's
is
face
not
it,
the guy I was. This is not the scientist I was talking about. However, I
know.
did just reread Catalyst.
Oh, it's such a great book.
hmm
It has transformed my understanding of this season.
I loved the hand motions by
The
Krennic in
hand,
that meeting.
the hand motion.
He's like unlimited power.
Also, the fact that they used unlimited power as the
Yeah.
catchphrase for this energy project.
Uh-huh.
And
Um,
he's doing the Trump hands. He's doing
unlimited power.
Unlimited power. And we're gonna make the Bothans pay for it.
It's Gorman all over.
We're gonna make the Gormans pay for it.
Yeah.
But in seriousness, the levity with which he is presenting
Yeah,
basically
it's
like,
great.
so we're going to irreparably screw over this planet and possibly kill everyone on it. You're all gonna
However,
make it so that the galaxy's okay with this. Cool?
Yes,
Awesome?
seriously.
Great.
it's fantastic.
Um,
And the whole kind of like 1950s meets
Yes.
Fallout style ad they did for the
Oh
Garden
my god,
Planet.
yeah.
It-
Heidi's just talking about that now.
so Matt, you
Yeah.
live in Maryland, so you're familiar with West Virginia.
I am, yes.
We both live in Maryland, so yes, we are both familiar with West Virginia.
Oh yeah, but he's closer.
Yeah.
Marginally.
I don't know which is scarier, the cryptids or the people, you know?
Kidding.
We
was
love
Matt and I are
referencing
only like 10
specifically
minutes away from each
blowing
other.
the tops off of mountains to get at the coal inside.
Oh,
Mhm.
fracking.
This is kind of what it's kind of what this made me think of, where it's like,
yeah.
yeah, well, the people in West Virginia are going to have increased rates of cancer, and they're then all going to be impoverished once all the coal's gone.
However,
but we will have so much coal in the short term, and that's what matters.
yes.
Yeah.
A quick side note, Matt and I are only like 10 minutes away from each other.
Yeah, we need
I
to-
actually
we need
don't
to-
know which direction.
You're good.
I was guessing. I
I-
thought
you're
that
good.
you were closer to the coast, Eric.
No, we're good.
Eric just has this perception where we all just think he's on the Eastern Shore for some reason.
I
Like,
grew up down there, okay?
That explains it. There it is.
like you just have to continuously remind us that you're actually 10 minutes from me and not on the peninsular part of Maryland.
Yeah, I'm in the DMV, okay?
Got it.
I'm in the DMV. I'm in the
Um,
DMV.
The Demuva.
Yeah. Anyway,
but yeah, like
yeah.
I the way that they talked about it, the way that they're like, oh yeah, it will probably destabilize the entire region.
My favorite bit about that whole thing, besides that ad,
The ad was
the
incredible.
dessert party that they had
So
afterwards.
I do kind of want to throw a picture of this into the Discord.
Yes.
I made brownies that were like an approximation of because remember I saw the first episode early.
Mhm.
So while we were watching it, I just like put these on the table for me and my girlfriend.
At the dessert party.
I just threw it into the general.
Yeah, let's hear.
Um,
Oh, those are great. Oh, those are fantastic, Leah.
but yeah, so the
join our Discord if you haven't seen it.
My favorite thing of that meeting, other than the ad, which was incredible, was like I've been calling them the Imperial Madmen.
They are.
Where they're like pitching the propaganda like it's an advertising job.
Seriously,
I called one of them Don Draper at one point while watching it.
I like as much like I hate the Empire.
Oh, me
Everyone
too.
should. I would watch multiple seasons of those two.
Hands down.
they were just so comically terrible.
They were amazing.
They're horrible people. Horrible
They
people.
are.
So entertaining.
So we want to hurt people. However,
we love the spiders. We love the spiders.
We love the spiders.
Aggressive, solitary.
I love how Krennic was just like, okay, all right, we get it.
Like Krennic's just
even
like,
Krennic was weirded out.
Krennic's like, okay, you guys have something to say, and then those guys just took it and ran with it. They ran with it.
And then I think it's interesting how clear it is that Krennic was like had chosen Dedra for this, because even though, as it's kind of established in episode 2, Dedra has kind of been not succeeding at her goals. She has still ultimately been very good at the communication side of things and at the like stirring stuff up side of it. And that's what Krennic wants.
Was it just me, or did you like feel like she was kind of starting to question things?
I don't 100% know. I think she might just be so set into what she wants to do. I can see her having some, but like I can't really see her acting on it.
Yeah.
Because as kind of gets talked about later, which we'll get to, she's about as indoctrinated into the Empire as they come.
Yeah.
She was, literally raised into it.
Yeah.
Right.
But I also think that him wanting her to do it is kind of like Tarkin wanting Krennic to keep working on the Death Star project.
Yeah.
Because Tarkin wants someone working on this project that if it fails, he can be like, well, of course it failed. It's Krennic.
Yeah.
And sweep him under the rug. Or if it succeeds, it's someone who's easy enough to pull the rug out from under and
Mhm.
take the credit for it.
Like
And I
if
think that's what Dedra is being set up for with Gorman.
if Thrawn had been successful with the Defender program,
Yeah.
Right.
like Thrawn, I mean Tarkin would have
Would've
been like that
claimed
was
it.
my baby the entire time, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
because
Thrawn-
even like Yularen like talks to Daedra about it when they get back to Coruscant.
Partagas.
Partagas, that's right, that's right. They name drop Yularen. Sorry,
Yes.
yeah,
The major party guest.
yeah, major party
Major
Uh,
party
guest.
guy.
He was a major party guest in that
He was
scene.
a major party guest.
Heyo!
Oh,
Yeah, Yularen is Sir not appearing in this episode.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So they have an interaction. They have an interesting interaction when they get back to Coruscant about Daedra just wants to do her job. She doesn't want to do anything with Gorman. She feels like she shouldn't have been there. And then party guests. I'm gonna call him a party guest from now on because
I've
I
also
think
been
it's
calling him Major Parmesan.
Major Parmesan's a good
Major
one too.
Parmesan.
Yeah. And first name's Chicken. It's Major Chicken Parmesan.
It's actually Eggplant. A lot of
Eggplant.
people
Yeah,
think
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
Chicken, but it's actually
Yeah.
Eggplant. Chicken's his father.
Yeah. Chicken farm. And then Veal's his brother.
No, Veal's his uncle.
Yeah, Veal's his uncle. Yeah. Um yeah, because like they have that interesting conversation, and he's like, "Well, you can do both. Like you can do both."
You just need to do this one.
Yeah. Um
I do
so
also like how
yeah.
they touched on Ferrex, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
talked about how, like,
That was a huge failure.
basically made it clear to Dedra that it's a miracle she recovered from that at all.
Yeah.
And you know,
Because they
And
talk
then
about
now
it
they
being
can
a
hold it
failure.
over her head.
Yeah.
yeah, right.
Because it was a major failure for her.
It
was like her
yeah.
first big assignment, and it was a major failure.
She blew it.
Yeah.
Good that she
So
did.
So I guess since we're talking about Dedra, and I guess this is actually part of the Imperial storyline.
This is the
Should
Imperial storyline.
we
Mhm.
talk about the most awkward dinner ever?
We need to talk about the most awkward couple in Star Wars.
They are such
We
an
need to
awkward
talk
couple.
about the couple in Star Wars who makes I Hate Sand look like a pickup artist line. We need to talk about the couple in Star Wars who make "You're nothing, you come from nothing" sound like the sexiest line any character has ever said.
The way
This,
she's
of course,
banging her plate with a spoon.
this, of course, being Cyril and Dedra, the most
the comedic
uncomfortable.
timing.
I love how the actors describe them as a couple. It's like, it's uncomfortable, it's weird, it's strange,
They're just staring at each other the entire time.
staring at each other. And yet it's like it's fascinating. We see them not talking to each other about work.
Yeah,
We
which is
see
very
them-
healthy, by the way. That is
Yeah.
actually very healthy.
And
We see-
Dedra probably can't discuss it anyway. So
Yeah. We see them like preparing to have Cyril's mother over for dinner.
Does anyone even kiss anymore?
We will see them
Second
kiss, and it will be
indicator.
even worse.
Oh, that first kiss that we see between those two is going to be like one of the most awkward things we've
It's gonna
ever
be
watched.
so uncomfortable.
Recession indicator.
But
Heidi,
yeah,
you're on fire tonight.
so we see them setting up for dinner with Cyril's mother. This perfect black and white minimalist home
Oh
gets
my god, is it ever?
infiltrated by this bright orange.
They even talk about her attire too when she comes in.
By this bright orange. She is played by a world-class actress.
She
Like,
is fantastic.
I cannot say enough. This person who was being sold to us as like boorish and unsophisticated is like one of the finest Shakespearean actresses
really
alive.
I still go back to the giant grin on her face as she's banging her spoon into the plate.
She knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
With the cake.
And
they're just sitting
and
there like, what the-
dripping fondue everywhere.
And
Which
even
that is such a Cyril and Dedra thing to have for dinner. Fondue,
oh,
really?
absolutely.
Just everything about this dinner is constructed to
Why did
be
they
the
pick
worst
fondue?
possible option.
Why did they pick fondue? Because they're fondue people, duh.
Because they're fondue people.
when you put two extra people together under the same roof, that's what you get.
Well, no.
I did like the
here's thing.
confirmation that Cyril is a good cook, which means he was only eating
His-
cereal because he was that depressed.
She was very calculated. She was. But his knife skills were incredible.
Mhm.
When you see him
He
chop
was
up a thing,
only eating cereal because he was that messed up about the
Don't.
Cassian Andor stuff.
he was. More like fondant. So
class.
Cyril and Deidre look like the couple that would have like another couple over for fondue and awkward charades.
They look like a Bay Area
Oh yeah.
Silicon Valley
They're-
couple.
They're the kind of couple that would stress over the quality of the charcuterie board when
Oh,
their guests are just happy to eat.
Cyril would
They're
definitely do that.
Oh yeah.
they're they're like they're I can't even describe it. They make me I want to put them in a jar and shake them until they separate into butter and buttermilk. Like
It's really two things. Two things about this. Number one, do you think they go farmers marketing and like they try to like pick like which avocados or make them not
100%, 100%. Cyril
They're-
is like pressing every avocado to make sure it's the right firmness. Dedra's picking up a watermelon and shaking it next to her head, and no one knows what's happening. They go to wine tasting.
They are wine tasting people.
They have the perfect like swish drink spit of
They have a
No,
sommelier on
no.
retainer.
they're like bottled water sommelier people.
Oh,
They're like we only drink Two Block
Perrier,
Springs bottled water.
the finest bottled water.
The finest natural spring water from the outer rim.
I can see them now. Like they go over to another couple's house, and like they only have like the husband only has like beer or something, and like he offers Cyril a beer, and he's like, I guess.
Speaking of offering drinks, Edie drinking spiced wine. Do we think that she's drinking like chai, or do we think that she's drinking like cocaine?
Oh, it's cocaine.
100%. Like
It's
when I
hard drugs.
was it spiced wine or was it spiced tea?
It was
It's spiced
spiced
tea.
tea.
Spiced tea.
Yeah,
Sorry.
spiced tea. Oh no,
Because-
that's drug
well,
laced.
Well, because my brain when I hear spiced wine, I think
Watch
wine cut with water, honey, coriander seeds, and a bunch of other stuff. But
Yes,
Dune spice.
Dune spice.
Edie drinks the water of life. She sees everything.
Hence why she's
She-
even more annoying than usual.
The Death Six guy approached her and she said yes.
Death Six guy approached her and she said,
Oh my god.
You
But
want to buy
actually-
some Death Sticks?
And I
Actually,
think
yes.
she is so everything that Cyril goes and has a nice lie down, fully clothed on top of the bed,
and they
with
said
his
that
legs
whole,
sticking off the side.
and they said that whole scene is improvised. Like
I
Kyle just
know.
went right in there and did it. and, Denise Go, who plays Deidre, was like, I had no idea he was going to do that. So when I
Yeah.
saw the final cut, I was losing it.
But while he's doing that, Dedra is like reading Edie the riot act.
It's
She's
so
like, yeah, I
amazing.
know about
so
your
good.
family's criminal connections. I know about blah 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 blah. I could ruin you forever if you make him uncomfortable. The he asked for no pickles energy. Incredible.
See the light draining from his eyes at the table.
And like I do think it was set up very well for Dedra to
It is.
snap at Edie
Yeah.
with how Edie was talking about
Yeah.
Dedra's which like was Dedra's upbringing messed up? 100%.
Oh,
Was it
absolutely.
messed up for the reasons that Edie was insinuating? No, it was messed up because she was indoctrinated as a child.
Yeah, exactly.
It was not messed up just because she was an orphan raised as a ward of the state. Like, I mean, like that sucks, but like
Yeah. But I mean, but it happens.
Dedra's problem is not due to a lack of maternal affection, because clearly Cyril had no lack of maternal presence
And
in
he
his
turned
life.
out perfectly. He turned out just fine. Eating
Yeah,
his face Captain Crunch.
they
I
are.
would say, go ahead.
Go for it.
I was gonna say I did like from like a character development perspective, seeing Cyril being Cyril, but having a more confident Cyril, at least
Yeah.
a little bit more confident
Yeah,
this
he
season.
was a Cyril who like has some purpose. Like we saw him
Yeah.
at work, and he was like
Mhm.
showing people around, and he's like a success at work. He got promoted multiple times.
And he kind of like looks out for the little guy in that scene too, like the brand new guy.
Yeah,
He's just like,
he's
just do what I did.
Mhm.
he's a fascinating character.
He is.
He
I
is,
want to put him in a wood chipper, but he's fascinating.
So I've seen people that are like on social media, like Threads and Blue Sky, that are like, look, we hate fascists, but somehow we are rooting for Didra and Cyril as a couple.
Seriously.
I-
The YouTube comments that are like when your fascist girlfriend goes to bat for you, and
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
like
Exactly. So
It's just so fascinating.
It is.
Whatever vibe they have going on.
Mhm.
It's so weird. And it's so weird because even though like they have each other in this way,
Mhm.
they're still so isolated from each other,
Absolutely.
even in the same space, even in this open floor plan minimalist apartment that they
Oh.
have. Because like they're isolated from everyone else. Even though they're in a city of literally like 1 trillion people,
Yeah.
they somehow feel more isolated than Bix and Brasso and Willman living in a hut literal miles from any other people.
But remember, Wilman
Yeah.
gets to touch foreheads, so it's okay.
Well,
How did that scene
Cyril
even
and
get
Dedra get to awkwardly hold each other's faces. That's just as intimate.
That was really interesting too. She's like, "We're not canceling," and he's just like, "Okay, well,
We're not
okay.
canceling.
I'm gonna switch it up and wear a black shirt today." Exactly. And I did like that
They're-
approach too. He's wearing white and she's wearing black.
Mhm.
They literally are. They have like a monochrome existence.
They do.
It reminds me of like the households from like the 50s and 60s, like the AdMed households, like in the 50s and 60s.
Mhm.
Oh, so funny.
Yeah, I don't think there's much more to say on that front.
No, why don't we
Uh,
move on to another awkward family thing with Mon Mothma and her daughter's arranged marriage? Because that's a thing.
Mon Mothma and her daughter's arranged marriage.
Her daughter, that actress played her daughter being a complete teenager so well.
She
one minute it-
killed it.
She's
one minute-
great.
One minute it was like, "Screw you, mom! I'm gonna do this." Next minute was, "Oh my god, what have I done?" And then the next
She-
minute,
Well,
it's, "Screw you."
I do
hand-holding bit
legitimately
was
feel
the
bad
best.
for Lita because like
Mhm.
she's young. She doesn't know what she's getting herself into.
Yeah.
Nope.
I feel bad for her that
Yeah.
she's about to lock herself into this.
Hmm.
And
Because based on Mon and Perrin, I don't think Chandrillans believe in divorce.
no, it's pretty
think so
much still
either.
death do you part.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty much that.
Well, that can be arranged. But like, and we'll get to Perrin. But
Mhm.
Mhm.
I think everything with the wedding setup is so
Oh,
fascinating.
it is.
Mm.
First off, shout out to the 2.5-minute oneer as it follows Mon walking through the complex, like saying hello to people,
And getting
um,
distracted.
getting distracted.
The mom's taking shots.
Oh
Yeah.
God, yeah, we'll get
We're gonna
there.
get to
Yeah.
that.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Um,
we're gonna get there.
Luthen showing up unexpectedly.
That was the best.
Hmm.
Him, like, I'm trying to imagine what that must feel like for Mon, where it's like the one place where I need there to be no rebel activity. You're here.
Luthen's building it behind her back at her wedding.
Like, um,
Mm.
and having like it really does seem like the wedding from hell, where you
Oh,
have such a crazy mix of people there.
yeah.
Um, you've got you've got Luthen, who on the one hand is trying to get information for the rebellion, and on the other hand is literally just doing his day job. Uh, you've got you've got you've got Clea, who Clea and Vel, to me, have the vibes of like they dated once for a short time and it went horribly. Um,
It was like one date and they never called each other
you've got
back.
you've got Clea drinking like prohibition starts tomorrow. You've got you've got Vel sad that her girlfriend won't text her back. You've got you've got Tay. Tay will get there. You've
Yeah.
got
Yeah,
Perrin has
that's a whole
no
thing.
clue what's going on. You've got Mon has every clue what's going on.
Trying to juggle like
You've got Lida, whose future husband won't even hold her hand. Like
that was when she
the
started
only
complaining
person
about
at this wedding who might be having a good time is either Perrin or Davo. And I think it might just be Davo.
because he's just getting trashed the entire time. Oh god, this
It's
wedding.
It's a goddamn ride, and we're
It
on day 1 of the wedding.
Yeah.
wait till the rehearsal dinner.
We go into day 2 of the wedding, and they
Then a
have to
hike
climb a
out.
goddamn mountain.
Yeah.
Sick Leah reference.
I was actually thinking about you when I
I
saw
was
that
also
scene.
thinking about that. um,
And she's
Climbing a
Italy
mountain
thinking,
the day before celebration, not a great choice.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, they're climbing a mountain. They're um, Mon is Mon is pulling a historians, we'll call them best friends, about Vel and Cinta. Um,
They were roommates.
Yeah. Yeah.
what good friends.
They're
Um,
good friends.
Besties.
uh, you have you have Tay revealing that actually maybe I don't like the rebellion anymore.
Yeah.
Because I lost some money and my wife won't sleep with me anymore.
She moved out, remember?
Yeah.
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 Which, when he first says my wife moved out, I thought that this was him setting up like, so my bed is free with
With Mon.
Mon, and it turns out that it's like him trying to say just how bad everything's gotten for him. Um,
And then
because
my
of
my
because
wife
of
My
the
left me gay,
rebellion.
probably.
So now Mon has to deal with that. And also Perrin's going up and giving a speech at the rehearsal dinner like,
About how miserable
your
they're
marriage is going to suck. So you should at least get drunk about it.
his his speech. It comes from, okay, I see where it
It
comes
came
from.
from a place of love. It
Yeah, it
came
does
from a
come from
place
a
of
place of
love.
love,
It
but
comes from a
his
place of
deli
genuine. I don't
his
know if you've
delivery is
read
the
Mask of
best.
Fear.
Yeah.
This tracks with how he was in
Yeah.
Mask of Fear with Mon.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think
Parent is like joy.
you need to find joy, like
He's like
parties.
and then gaiety and, like, all this other stuff. I'm like, "Okay, fine."
He's
He
he's
pretty much
trying his best,
he
and his
pretty
best
much
is not
tells
very good.
he pretty much tells his daughter, like, "This is gonna suck. You're gonna hate it,
To
but
be
damn
fair,
it."
he's telling the damn truth.
He is. And I'm gonna say this right now, as somebody who is married, you do have your ups and downs, but I love my wife, and you know what? I wouldn't trade it for anything else in the world. That's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I do feel like Perrin's a little like that did start to lean a little towards like boomer humor, the old ball and chain.
Oh yeah, oh
Uh,
no, that was yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Yeah.
but
Perrin 100% watches, reads like, newspaper comics with like I hate my wife humor.
Oh, he's the guy that gets up in the morning and just automatically looks at the arts and entertainment section
Mhm.
after,
he
like,
he's
reading the front page.
he reads the front page, he skips the rest, and he pulls out just the sports section to read later.
You just see a big Chandrillin paper, like, at their breakfast table, and it's just Baron just like, "So you were out late last night, what happened?"
um,
But yeah, Baron's just like, "It sucks. Moving on."
to be fair, his marriage has sucked.
Oh, his
Uh,
marriage is a sham.
Mhm.
Yeah.
um,
Most
but
Chandrillin marriages are.
what? You know what?
Most Chandrillin.
Maybe Belzenifar is doing better than he would have been doing if he'd grown up on Chandrilla, where he was
Oh,
born.
absolutely.
I do
Um,
like that the Rakatans were mentioned. That was pretty
Mhm.
cool.
Oh,
yeah, we have
the
another
Ricotta.
Rakadan mention.
Yeah, I love that they're
As
slowly building them in.
Yeah.
at the wedding, the gift is unveiled, and that being this like thing that was stolen by the Rakatans, which
It was like one of their
I'm thinking
deities?
it was like an old yeah,
Yeah, it was a
which I
Chandrilla
think
deity.
there's a lot to be said about how like shouldn't this be somewhere where all of the people of Shindrilla can see it, not just
No, it's going to their house.
Well,
um
museums only house
Well,
10% of all of the
Ho
artifacts that have been uncovered over the course of history.
Home Depot,
I'm
Chandrilla Home Depot's delivering it to their new house.
Chandrillin Home
Chandrillan
Depot.
Hobby Lobby is
Yeah,
actually how this
exactly.
got here.
Yeah, exactly.
Um
Dabo is just the CEO of Chandrillin Hobby Lobby.
I wouldn't
That's how
doubt
he made
it.
his money.
Um
Probably. He
but
voted
yeah,
for the
the
one guy
wedding
for the
itself
economy.
before that was crazy.
It's
Because Mon
so
gives
weird.
Lita one last chance to get out of
Yeah,
this wedding to a boy who won't even hold her hand.
yeah.
Mhm.
And Lita says, I wish you were drunk right now.
Yeah, that's the best. I mean, I hung my mouth when she said that. I was like,
I
"Oh
did
god."
too. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
She
The
was sorry.
statues are
She
numbered
was
on their
trying to
back.
give you an out.
Yeah.
You had
Mhm.
one last chance
Yeah.
to not go through with this,
Yeah.
and he did it.
Yeah. And then the wedding happens and then she got drunk. My
The wedding
god.
happens. Very Jedi knighting vibes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because I did notice that she had the one braid that was already cut. So I think
Yeah.
that it's like when you get betrothed, the one is cut, and then when you get
Yeah.
married, the other gets cut, which I like. That's a neat
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a passage of time, something like that. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Um, but the 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 after party, the
Is the
reception,
best.
The reception where let's give a quick rundown of everything that happens. 1, the statue is unveiled.
The statue is
2, Mon calls a hit on her ex-boyfriend.
she dies.
3, Mon gets drunk.
I love drunk
4,
Mon
the
Mothma.
most awkward first dance of all time that my girlfriend was being like, there's no rhythm, it makes no sense.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then Mon gets drunk and Mon dances her goddamn heart out
I
to
love that scene.
another remix of the Space Pitbull song.
That's right. And Tony Gilroy has even said, he's like, it's just Nymos remixed. That's
Yeah.
it. It's just Nymos remixed.
Which, have you seen the hour remix of that
I was
scene
watching it
on
before the
YouTube?
show tonight. I was
haven't,
actually
no.
watching it before the show tonight. I will post it real quick in chat afterwards.
It's 1
That way you
hour
can
of
see it.
Mon Mothma dancing to Niamos.
Oh my god, it's the best. It's the best. So I see, yeah, the disco ball droid. I saw a
The
meme
disco
that's
ball
like,
droid that looks a lot like the droid that was sent to assassinate Padme.
well, no, I saw a meme that has the disco ball droid and it says, playing the Mothma Chandrila wedding at 8. Gotta torture Princess Leia at 9 for the Death Star. But I loved that like Mon Mothma's, I guess, in-laws now, the mother the mother's just like, here, have a shot, here, have a shot, here, have a shot.
And Mon's like, I need this.
Mhm.
Hands,
Her
bitch.
dancing,
DJ
dancing was
Roomba.
DJ Roomba. Her dancing was definitely like
I loved
just
it.
drowning your sorrows type dancing, you
And
know.
I loved the look on Perrin's face, like when he's watching her do it
I
too.
I think.
Mhm.
What did you think that look was?
I think it was like one of those things where I feel like he felt sad for her. Because it was like she's had a lot going on, plus that was like kind of like the nail in the coffin. Like it seemed like his heart broke for her, but then he also like looked like, oh well, maybe I could actually salvage this relationship.
Mhm.
I think that I kind of did read it as him being like, again, this is Mask of Fear.
Yeah.
I don't think he's seen her look this messed up since the Empire started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
And when that happened, it was like really bad. So for him
Yeah.
to be like, I know she didn't like the idea of the wedding, but there has to be something more.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
I feel like he's kind of having maybe is having a moment of like, I need to reach back out to her. I need to.
Because
Yeah.
they have this arrangement that's talked about in Mask of Fear, how like even though like their marriage is on the rocks, they're still there for each other. They still
Right.
look
And
out for
clearly
one
they
another.
don't really have that by the time
Yeah.
of Andor season 1. I could
Yeah.
see them having that again.
I agree.
I don't know if I see them sharing a bed again because the one time that happened, Lita happened.
Yeah.
Um,
Spoiler alert.
well, I mean,
Yeah. Oh god, just being stupid.
math.
Yeah. But I could see them like coming to a more of a mutual respect, like moving forward in the season.
Yeah.
I honestly would not be too surprised if it's revealed that like Perrin is actually much more rebel leaning than
Yeah.
Mon thinks, than
He's
we
just
think.
playing it up.
And like him inviting people from the Vizier's office for dinner is
Yeah.
supposed to be like a front.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be too surprised.
Mm-hmm. I think
I
it'd be
think,
interesting.
and also I think they would handle it well.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I can totally see them like having it be an intentional mirror of the. You may find my politics a bit strong for your taste.
Yeah.
But like with actual conviction behind it.
Yeah. I
Rip
agree.
Tay. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, speaking of the hit being called on Tay, we see Vel watching her estranged girlfriend be the one, be the hitman. Um, and I think specifically seeing her be the hitman in the same way that the ISB spy was planted on Mon in season
Yeah.
1,
Yeah.
Mhm.
that's a lot.
So let's move on to the main story here, and that's Cassian's story with stealing the TIE Avenger and ending up on a location that is very familiar with Star Wars fan. And then Luthing asking the kid, "Where are you going next?" Always
Luth
tapping,
I
always
loved that
snooping.
moment because that was such a good Luthen. Like I love seeing Luthen in his element, and
Yeah,
that's Luthen in his element.
Mhm.
I think Luthen would have been much happier as like a later rebellion spy,
yeah,
Yeah.
kind of like Cairn Aiden or something,
yeah, yeah,
rather
yeah,
than as this ringleader. Like
yeah.
I think he finds joy in doing the spy side of it.
He does.
He finds incredible constant stress in managing people.
Yeah,
Valid.
uh, and that's one thing that we're going to explore here in just a minute. Because
Right.
Cassian is tasked with stealing the TIE Avenger from
Yes.
the training or
Sinar.
from the Sinar
The Sinar
facility.
test facility.
Yeah.
Shout out to Grasalia Sinar.
Yes.
And
Mhm.
shout out to everyone's new favorite Imperial scientist, Gleb Shido, Nia.
Oh yeah, the one that he talks to. Yeah.
Um, I've seen so much love for her since the
She's
episode
great.
aired. I
She is
hope we see her
great.
again.
Yeah. And like the speech he gives her is just beautiful
It
about
really
holding on
shows
to
like
hope.
he has learned a lot from Nemec and from
Yeah.
like the rest of his year.
Yeah. Um we also get one of the best comedic moments with him not knowing how to fly this damn thing.
It was
Um
very Umbara arc.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was. And then
I
him
do want to shout out.
yeah.
I like that the way that they established that Cassian has been active for the whole last year is by pulling a James Bond or Indiana Jones opening where you're
Yeah, where
catching
he's
the
on the
end of
mission.
his last mission.
Yep.
Mhm.
I love that too. Because it
Um,
just builds more.
yeah,
Um, he takes out that whole squad of stormtroopers with the Gatling gun, which is amazing, by the way.
Mhm.
it
Um,
very much feels the like this is the payoff for all those times he got swooped by ties
it's like
on
someone
Aldani.
changing the controls of a game.
I do feel like with the TIE Avenger,
Yeah.
it was just kind of like how many exotic weapons can we pack onto this thing, you know?
Oh yeah, it
Just
has an
like
How
amazing weapons
expensive can we
package.
make this thing?
Oh,
right.
that would have made Thrawn.
And not only
Oh,
does it have an amazing wedding package, wow, Mon,
weapons
weapons package,
package.
it has
Are you at the wedding now?
multiple extra seats in the back.
It
Mhm.
does because it also acts like a troop transport.
Yep.
This seems like you took the best parts of the Interceptor and the
Yeah,
Reaper and put
Mhm.
them together,
yeah,
and that's dangerous. So I'm glad
I
that this prototype got stolen.
I
yeah.
would almost make the argument that this fighter is better than the Thrawn's Defender.
Oh,
Oh,
absolutely.
I
Yeah,
Yeah.
think I think I mean, they fill different roles. Like the defender,
mhm,
I think would have kind of filled the niche of the B wing, where it's like when you
yeah,
need to destroy something.
yeah,
Mhm.
Whereas this would be, I think, better than any single rebel ship because it's
yeah.
Yeah.
like an all around. It's fast. It's heavy weapons. It
Mhm.
carries extra troops
Yep. Yep.
And it's
or
got shielding.
supplies or ordnance or whatever you want to throw in the back.
Thank
It's
God it
got
had
shielding.
shielding because of the way
Yeah.
Andor flied
It
it.
has shielding.
Fluid,
Like
excuse me.
I do think that there is nothing that the rebellion could have thrown that could one-to-one
Yeah.
this, unless you have like the
No.
best pilot in the
Mhm.
rebellion.
So then he makes his way to unknown moon that ends up being Yavin.
Incredible reveal at the end of
I
episode
love
2
that
with that
reveal.
one.
That
I
was
love
so
that
cool.
reveal.
But I think even more incredible than that reveal is the introduction of the Maya Pei Brigade.
They were so comically incompetent. How did
He's
they
got
lack
15
that?
blasters pointed. Did he need to know that? He needs to know he's surrounded. The number?
And then they play space rock paper scissors.
Just everything about opening fire on each other for no reason. Not
then-
even being able to agree whether Maya Pei died or not.
And then they're
The
trying to
sticky
eat the melons. The melons.
It's just a comedy of errors.
It's
And Cassian
fantastic.
is consistently the only guy here who knows what the hell to do.
And he keeps trying to suggest these things, and they won't listen to
He's
him.
like,
Yeah.
you've got tarps here, you could collect rainwater so you don't go thirsty.
You're fighting when there's giant boats in the woods. Boars.
giant
Yeah.
stink boars.
Giant boars. Yeah.
I need to see a rendition of that where it's just this freaking like sailboat just like plows its way through.
So, okay, I've seen some backlash of his arc in those first 3 episodes, and people are like, "Oh yeah, it's really stupid that he spends that much time with them." And I'm like, "This is them getting the rebellion together. This is
Right, like
them
this
trying
is
to unite."
showing
Right.
Yeah.
this
And
is
like
showing why we need an alliance.
Yeah.
and it's good because it's showcasing that, again, it's showcasing the lack of black and white around
There's
stuff
a
like
lot of
this.
gray there. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I mean, with insurgent movements like that, I mean, sure, yeah, you're going to have some that are really good at what they do, and you're going to have
Mhm.
some that are like, how the hell did they survive this long?
Yeah. Well, that's what I was thinking with that group. I was like, "How are
I was
you
over
guys
here
still
like,
alive?
like, how the hell did
How are you guys still alive? You got 15 blasters pointed at you. Really? The number? Really?"
seriously? Like, and Andor tried to be like, we've been supplying you this whole time. They just don't listen.
Yeah.
I think it's very clear that, I mean, even from the fact that they call themselves the Maya Pei Brigade, Maya Pei is the only thing holding this group together.
And they don't know if she's alive or dead.
And you also
Lack
start
of
to
resources,
understand
yeah.
too, like why Saul Guerrera has the attitude that he does from season
Mhm.
1, because
Yeah.
he's just like calling all these guys fools, and then you see the Maya Pei brigade, and it's like, oh,
Oh, he
Oh,
was
yeah.
right. And I think this is me getting on my I like Saw Gerrera soapbox. So Eric, cover your ears.
It's okay. I can handle some blasphemy for a little bit.
Did I? Great time for me to freeze. I
you're just
think
chilling.
that this is like a really. I think that Saw had a lot of foresight in having his group be
agree.
called something other than like Saw Gerrera's Rebels.
Yeah.
And like it is clear that even outside of Saw, there is like some form of leadership structure in
Yeah.
the partisan,
Yeah.
because I think Saw was a rebel on Onderon
Mhm.
during the Clone Wars. He knows that if you organize around an individual, that individual will probably die.
Yeah. Absolutely.
He saw what happened to Steela. He saw what happened when when the king was removed from power.
Yeah.
And he's like, can't have that. I'm going to build an organization
Mhm.
that can handle this,
Agreed.
and I'm going to lead it. But if I die, someone else can lead it.
Yeah.
And I think like obviously that's what the rebellion is going to adopt. Like the
Yeah.
rebellion does not fall apart when so many people die on Scarif for over Yavin 4.
Just move on.
Yeah, like they have contingency plans.
Yeah.
Shout out to From a Certain Point of View.
Yeah.
They have contingency plans. They have backup people. They have a chain of command. They're not just a bunch of disorganized hoodlums following
Like the Maya
one
Pay Brigade.
person. And I'm sure the Maya Pay Brigade have done some good work, but jeepers, they fall apart the second the going gets tough.
Mm-hmm. The freaking meal bars is just like Andor's over here
Let's
like
feed him the moldy one, Steve. It's
Yeah,
okay.
Andor's just
the
like,
moldy
hey,
one.
maybe you guys should collect some of this rainwater. They're just like, shut up, man. Like,
Yeah, I have expected Cassian to be like, you need water sooner than you need food. Like, it
Yeah.
sucks to be hungry, but like,
You can live
you
a
need
lot
water
longer.
first.
Yeah. So eventually, Cassian escapes Yavin and goes to the farm planet, where he rescues Bix and Wilman, and holds Brasso in his arms as Brasso dies. And then that's where we leave it when they escape.
The suspense, like having the stormtrooper line up that shot and then not actually showing us.
Gonna miss.
Yeah, I was on the edge of my seat. I was like, no, come on, and the one time stormtrooper's like accurate,
Yeah. But let's face it, that banger from Nymos closes out the end of the episode.
Neomos, perhaps. I truly
credit to DJ
love
Roomba.
the song Neomos.
Oh, it's a great song. Credit to DJ Roomba.
When I first noticed that was what was playing at the wedding, I was like, no.
Yeah.
No. This is also in some of the trailers.
Mm-hmm. It is. And it's also in the Tony Gilroy has said it's also playing in the brothel in episode 1 of the first season.
Yep.
Yeah. And he says it's just a galactic hit. That's why we keep putting it in all of these episodes.
No, I think it makes perfect sense to see a song go from being in like parties and brothels and stuff, and then eventually seeing it be like, and now it's being played at a wedding.
Yeah.
Where a future rebellion leader is getting shit-faced.
like part of me wants to be like, oh my god, is this the Star Wars version of like the cha-cha slide?
No. I will end this right now.
Oh my god, it's the Star Wars Cupid Shuffle. Oh my god, it's Star
Cupid
Wars
Shuffle.
Cotton Eye Joe.
Oh my god, Cotton Eye Joe. Oh my god.
We need Star Wars cosplayers to do the cha-cha slide now. We need that on video.
No, actually, I'm pretty sure there's a version of Star Wars Cotton Eye Joe on those farm planets.
I think we do legitimately need to like come up with a dance for Neomos and just have groups of people do like a flash dance at the next celebration.
Yes! Let's organize this. We should actually just recreate the awkward wedding.
Just a bunch of people in like very fancy robes and dresses,
and then we just
and
drop
like,
a disco ball.
How cool! There's a bunch of cosplayers, and
just drop a disco ball from the top.
No, you gotta have the Say Anything boombox.
Yes.
Tony Gilroy just in the middle, just with the Say Anything boombox.
Oh goodness.
Because Gilroy would be in on it.
Oh,
Gilroy would 100% be in on it. Anyway, you know what? I'm gonna reach out to Tony Gilroy's people about doing this at Celebration.
Do it. Do it.
Hey man, you should come to Celebration so we can like.
We want to recreate the Mon Mothma wedding dance scene. Get totally shit faced while we do it.
Beautiful. Art.
Anyway,
Art.
we went longer this time,
We did.
but we had a lot to talk about.
We did.
We had to catch up on stuff. Celebration, come
Yeah,
back
we
to
had
Orlando. Yep.
Celebration. We had
Mm-hmm.
Revenge of the Sith, and then we had Andor.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, next week. Oh God, let me see here. Yeah, so next week we will be back on May 3rd. We're going to be celebrating May 4th weekend to
and
celebrate
Free
Star
Comic
Wars.
Book Day.
And Free Comic Book Day. That is true. God, I am actually off on Free Comic Book Day.
You should
That's
get a
awesome.
free comic book.
I am going to go get a free comic
There's
book. Who's
the Young Jedi Adventures one.
Ooh.
Hashtag Nubs Nation.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's
Oh,
it for
and we're
us.
getting season 3 of that. That was another
are.
thing that got mentioned
Yeah.
at Celebration.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. I really am. I am almost done season 1, so I'm a little bit far behind. But it's fun.
Yeah.
It's somehow the only Star Wars show with a consistent release schedule.
It really is. All right. So that's it for us this week. I'm going to hang out in Discord in about like 10 minutes or so. I need to get up, stretch, cool off a little bit, and then I'll be back. So, Leah, thank you. Welcome back. We missed you.
Always happy to be here.
Yes. Matt, welcome back. I guess we're going to have you on for Andor now.
Not until so I'm going to be at events the next 3 weekends, but I will be
Okay.
free again on the 24th.
Okay, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
All right, Heidi, you have a good night. Everybody, thank you for joining us tonight. We hope that you enjoyed the show. As always, follow us on social medias, follow us here. And as always, may the force be with you. And just remember, at the end of the day, we are all the Republic. Till next time, goodbye.